Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, my first guest this morning is the newly appointed CEO of the Strategic Banking Corporation of Ireland, June Butler. In an exclusive interview, and with businesses now needing capital injections more than ever, June joins us now to take us through the various options that are available to business owners. June, you were appointed as the CEO of the Sbci earlier this year, having spent many years working as head of SME banking with Bank of Ireland. So what appealed to you about switching to the public sector and leading the Sbci?
That's right, Carl. I joined the Sbci in September of this year. Before I joined the Sbci, I worked with Bank of Ireland in business banking, really where I looked after providing finance to SMEs. It was there that I developed a real passion for working with Irish businesses. I got to know Irish businesses. I got to see how innovative and creative they were. And so when this role came up, it was a really good fit because it enables me to continue to work in a sector that I love, but to support businesses from a slightly different angle. So I really feel privileged to be leading the Sbci at a time when Irish businesses really need the support that we can offer and to helping businesses to recover and grow over the next few years.
The Sbci has been busy over recent years in developing very innovative finance products for SMEs. So remind our listeners, June, about what the Sbci is and how it works.
Sure. So the Sbci was established really to help Irish businesses to get the funding they need when they need it. And since we were set up in 2014, we have provided 2.6 billion in low-cost, flexible funding to over 43,000 Irish businesses. We have three main aims, Carl. The first is to make access to finance easier for SMEs, to bring down the cost of borrowing, and then to increase the competition in the market to provide businesses with more choice of finance providers.
And how do you make all of that happen?
Yeah, so there are two ways, I guess, that we deliver on that. The first is we provide our lending partners with lower cost funding. So we provide them with low cost funding, which means that they can pass a discount on to business customers and reduce the rates on their lending. And then the second thing we do is we've introduced a number of guarantee schemes where we share the risk with the lender. And this results in lower cost and longer term loans being available to businesses. Those schemes also help us reduce the need for security for businesses, and that's really important for Irish businesses. It helps business access loans easier.
That is very true, and of course a bone of contention for many businesses over many years was the fact that they had to give so much security. There are schemes now available through the Sbci where there's unsecured lending available to €500,000.
That's right. So we have the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme, which has just recently arrived in the market, and there you can access unsecured lending up to €500,000. And the COVID Credit Guarantee Scheme, you can get unsecured lending up to €250,000. So they're really good options for businesses, and lots of new Irish businesses don't have huge collateral. They may be service companies or IT companies that don't have the traditional collateral that maybe manufacturing businesses would have. So they're really good options for those businesses.
And in terms of the cost of borrowing, what have you done to reduce that, and what are the rates on offer through those different Sbci products?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we do to reduce the rates. One is to provide that lower cost funding to both banks and non-banks. So we have expanded the range of partners that we work with, I suppose, to increase that competition in the market. We provide them with lower cost funding, and they must pass that discount then on to Irish businesses. So that's one way we reduce it. And then the guarantee schemes, like the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme or the COVID Credit Guarantee Scheme, both of those have the benefits of guarantees, which enables the banks to reduce the cost to businesses of those.
Now, I know that 3,500 loans at an average loan size of €211,000 have been sanctioned under the Future Growth Loan Scheme to date. The scheme is now fully subscribed with all of the banks and is only available through Close Brothers. Is the Sbci planning to release further funding under the scheme?
Yes, you're right. The 800 million under the Future Growth Loan Scheme has proven really popular with SMEs, and the scheme is now fully subscribed. It was actually really interesting. There was an additional 500 million added to that scheme during the pandemic, and it was interesting to see how quickly that was taken up. We are reviewing the scheme at the moment with our colleagues in the Department of Enterprise to assess the effectiveness and the gaps that it filled in the market. We will conclude on that next year, early in Q1, and that will enable us to decide if we'll be able to launch a new scheme.
Something else that has been and is currently a concern for many businesses is the lack of competition in the market when it comes to business finance from a banking perspective. So how has the SBCI gone about addressing that?
Yeah, so we have partnered with 16 lenders so far since we were set up. So 5 banks, 9 non-banks. So there's some of the smaller finance providers like BIBI, like Finance Ireland, like Close Brothers. We've also recently entered a partnership with Microfinance Ireland that provides lending to smaller businesses up to 25,000. And then under the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme, I'm delighted that we have a number of credit unions now who are providing that scheme. And I really believe the role of credit unions will become increasingly important in providing funding to local businesses where they have that local footprint and that local knowledge. So I'm delighted that we're extending that out to credit unions. And all of those combined, Carl, will help increase competition in the market.
And as you say that, the SBCI has also partnered with non-bank lenders in the Irish market in recent times. Do you expect that to increase over the coming years?
Well, I guess it's something that we're looking at closely, Carl, with the exit of Ulster Bank and KBC. I mean, that does reduce competition in the market. So we would certainly be talking to a number of other providers to see what are their plans to expand in Ireland, or for the non-banks that are here to expand their product offerings. So it is an important strategic focus for us.
And the SBCI, June, recently launched the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme. What can you tell us about that scheme and what are its features?
Yeah, so the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme launched a couple of weeks ago with both Bank of Ireland, AIB and the Metamo credit unions now providing the scheme. So really it's designed to provide that low-cost loans to Brexit impact Irish businesses. There's a couple of differences, Carl, in this scheme to the last Brexit scheme. So this scheme is available now to both agri customers, to farmers and also to the seafood sector. And that's an important difference to the last one. The term of loans available under the scheme are up to 6 years. And again, that's based on feedback that we would have received from the last scheme that was 3 years. So we're delighted to be able to make those enhancements. It's available to all Irish businesses who have been impacted by Brexit. You do need to be able to demonstrate an adverse impact or a reduction in either your turnover or profit due to Brexit. But it applies to importers, exporters, or indeed Irish businesses who have had suppliers who have been impacted by Brexit. So there's quite a broad scope there.
And June, am I right in saying that the SBCI schemes are also ideal for businesses that want to refinance existing debt over a longer period?
Yeah, so under both of the schemes, under the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme and the COVID Credit Guarantee Scheme, there is the opportunity to refinance debt. So under the Brexit scheme, you can refinance, for example, if you drew down a loan under the Brexit loan scheme, and there's some of that left, you can refinance that under this scheme. And the same with the COVID Credit Guarantee Scheme. If you have built up some COVID-related debt there, you can refinance it at quite attractive rates.
In general, what are the eligibility criteria that SMEs must satisfy to qualify for any of the SBCI loan schemes?
Yeah, so there are different criteria, Carl, and just for your listeners or any businesses who might be impacted, all of the eligibility criteria are available on our website, which is sbci.gov.ie. You can pop in there and look at it. But at a high level, under the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme, you have to be able to demonstrate that your turnover or your profit has reduced by 15% as a result of Brexit. And under the COVID Credit Guarantee Scheme, you also have to be able to demonstrate an adverse impact of 15% as a result of COVID.
And June, what is the application process that businesses must follow in order to qualify for these schemes?
Sure. So for the Brexit Impact Loan Scheme, it's a two-step process. So customers will come to us to seek eligibility. They can go onto our website, fill out our online form, and we will confirm their eligibility usually within 48 hours. We will provide an eligibility code, and customers will then take that to their bank or to the non-bank providers who are providing the scheme and go through the normal loan application process. For the COVID Credit Guarantee Scheme, it's slightly different. You can go direct to the bank or alternative lender that's providing it, and they will take you through the eligibility criteria and the loan application process all in one.
Do the finance providers, including the banks, apply their normal underwriting criteria when assessing a loan application that comes in under an SBCI scheme?
They do, and that's an important distinction, Carl. So for all of these loans, businesses have to be able to demonstrate repayment capacity. I suppose the benefits of the loans are that the terms are longer than you might normally get from a bank. So 5.5 years under the COVID Credit Guarantee Scheme and 6 under the Brexit loan scheme. So it gives businesses the opportunity to spread out those repayments over a longer period of time.
And from your insights into the applications that you've got to date, whether it be for Brexit or whether it be related to COVID-19 impact, what are businesses applying for this funding for?
Yeah, so it's a very broad range. I mean, at a high level, we're seeing about 60% of all of the funding that we do being used for investment into businesses. So during COVID, it would have been, for example, reformatting their business premises or buying health and safety equipment. We're also seeing all businesses looking at opportunities to digitize, for businesses to export. They're looking at investing in expanding into new markets. So a lot of investment activity there. And then other businesses are using the schemes for basic working capital and liquidity requirements, like paying stock, wages. We've all heard the challenges that businesses are facing in terms of increasing costs as a result of supply chain issues and talent shortages. So they're used for all of those reasons.
And of course, with the recent publication of the Climate Action Plan, is the SBCI currently looking at developing any new scheme that will satisfy that?
Absolutely. So it's a key priority for businesses. We've seen the Climate Action Plan being published, and it's a key priority for us. So businesses will need to invest to allow them to transition their business to, be it more sustainable energy sources or more sustainable ways of doing business. And we are looking at some schemes that can support that investment and make it available to businesses who, want to reduce their energy costs by investing in more sustainable technology.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was June Butler, the CEO of the SBCI, and I'd like to thank June for providing us with an overview of their business finance products.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.